My greetings. In today's tutorial, we're going to talk about tenses and very specifically about the past simple. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use two past simple sentences in one complex sentence. Let me remind you why complex sentences are important, because they add more depth, more coherence, and they show you as more fluent in communication and more eloquent in writing. So let me remind you of the past simple. The past simple comes as one verb only in the verb-2 structure. It could either be regular or irregular, like studied and heard, regular because they end with an ed or d, and these two are irregular because, as you can see, we have changed the whole verb from verb 1 or present simple into past simple: sleep, slept, drive, drove. Now we're going to consider the following example. Now, I brushed my teeth, I ate lunch, I washed the car. All these are past simple sentences compared and joined later on to I went to sleep, I washed my hands, I went to my friend's house. All these again are past simple sentences. Now what we're actually going to do is that I'm going to show you how to decide which one of these is action 1 and which is action 2. This depends on meaning, by the way. So now these are action 1 sentences and these are action 2 sentences. Okay, these are action 2 sentences. So I brushed my teeth, I went to sleep. Now, how are you going to decide which link word or transition to use? Are you going to use these or these? Let me show you. Now, you should bear in mind that when you use two simple past sentences in one complex sentence, the period of time between the completion of both actions is very short. So you see that like the second action, okay, happened after the completion of the first action in a short period of time. So you brushed your teeth, you went to sleep immediately. After that, immediately. Maybe you waited for a minute or so, but no more than that. Or the first action happened before the completion of the second action in a short period of time. Again, you brushed your teeth first, then you went to sleep, or before you went to sleep, you brushed your teeth first. Before you washed your hands, you ate lunch. Before you went to your friend's house, you washed the car. Or you could also say that the second action happened as a result of the first action. The second action happened as a result of the first action. Again, these are the second action, these are the action 2 actually. So they happened as a result of action 1. Or you could say the first action and the second action happened one after the other. You brushed your teeth, then you went to sleep. You ate lunch, then you washed your hands. You washed the car, then you went to your friend's house. Let me remind you of what we have considered in a previous tutorial when we talked about the past perfect and the past simple. Almost the same sentences, except that we have used had, which indicates the past perfect. Now, what happened here is that the first action and the second action, happened, okay, one after the other, but you waited for a period of time. That's why the first action happened after the completion of the second action happened after the completion of the first action in a long period of time. So you had brushed your teeth, you waited for a while, maybe half an hour, you talked to friends on the phone or watched something on TV, and then you went to sleep. Okay? You had eaten lunch, but you didn't wash your hands immediately. You were busy doing something else. Maybe you washed the dishes, and then you washed your hands. And then you had washed the car, but you didn't go immediately. You went up back to your house. You changed your clothes, and then you went to your friend's house. Okay? Again, the first action happened before the completion of the second action with or in a long period of time. This is what makes the two types of complex sentences different, the period of time. Okay? Now, going back to the past simple, now we're going to consider the link words. Like I told you, these link words are used to join these sentences together. Now, after, because, although, as soon as are followed by action 1 and then action 2. After I brushed my teeth, I went to sleep. Or before, when, and by are followed by action 2 and then action 1. Before I went to sleep, I brushed my teeth. As easy as that. Let's consider more examples. I cleaned the car, I took it out for a drive. I entered the house, my son told me the happy news. Again, it depends on which link word you are going to use. Basically, the two important and most common ones are after and before. As soon as is also interesting. So after is followed by action 1 and then action 2. Now, after is preceded by action 2 and then followed by action 1. Before is followed by action 2 and then action 1, as you can see. As soon as is followed by action 1 entered and then action 2 told. And if you are using it in middle position, there is always a kind of relation that it's preceded by action 2 and then action 1. Now, more example. Abdullah finished auditing the final balance sheet. So what do you think he should do later on? He's an accountant. So he went to his boss's office and he showed his boss the final balance sheets. So again, this is action 1, showed action 2. Depending on after and before, after is followed by action 1 finished, then action 2 showed. Before is followed by action 2 and then action 1 finished. More examples. Salim brushed his teeth, he went to sleep. Again, it depends. So this is action 1 and this is action 2, as you can see. So after is followed by action 1 brushed, then action 2 went. Now before is followed by action 2 went and then brushed at action 1. Okay? Now going down into the exercises. All these exercises actually are simple because they are all used in the past simple. All that you have to do is to decide which action happened first and which action happens next. So after is followed by action 1, spent, then decided, action 2. Before is preceded by action 1, phoned, and then followed by action 2, left. Now after is preceded by action 2, turned, and then followed by action 1, finished. When is followed by action 1, arrived, actually action 2, then started action 1. After is followed by action 1, arrived, I fed my cat, action 2. Although followed by action 1, arrived, I was able to be the manager, action 2. The tired mother managed to watch her favorite series, that's action 2. After the kids went to sleep, that's action 1. By the time I arrived, action 2, my wife already prepared lunch, that's action, actually, by is followed by action 2 and then action 1. Because it's preceded by action 2 and then action 1, worked, felt, worked. After is followed by action 1, then action 2, returned, discovered, returned. Before is followed by action 2, moved, and then action 1, sold. She opened the locked box after she found. Okay, after is followed by action 1, preceded by action 2. Before is followed by action 2 and then action 1, cleaned, washed. They went to work after. After is action 1, followed by action 1, preceded by action 2. Before is followed by action 2, invited, and then action 1, but. Thank you for being with me today in this tutorial. Our next tutorial is going to deal also with another past simple sentence or tense, actually, with another tense. Okay, it's going to be the past perfect continuous. Thank you very much for being with me today.